when Pratt calls and asks if I'm interested in doing it, of course I want to go more in depth of who Edwards was and what makes him tick and his motives and the cloudiness and how personal he makes these decisions.
Oh, it's so fun. It's so fun because
that was one of my favorite moments of the season, by the way. That scene in the truck.
With
it was so
coffee
fun.
with the cherry on the top.
Incredible. Incredible.
No matter what the rules, you have to remember we're not the players here. We're just pieces on the board.
Even a pawn can take down a king.
Seeing this character that you play and how it connects to season one, it's so interesting to see the development and the backstory and how it informs that. Is that something that was all on the page, or how did you work to figure out how to play this character?
I think it's a little bit of both, to be honest. When Pratt calls and asks if I'm interested in doing it, of course I want to go more in depth of who Edwards was and what makes him tick and his motives and the cloudiness and how personal he makes these decisions. So I don't know, it's a little bit of both, and we're shooting ideas around, and there's a scene on the boat where I say I miss the teams in season one. And what does that entail? Like, what made him make this decision and get kicked out of the SEAL teams, which is obviously a massive thing to anybody that's a SEAL, and the purpose that you would lose within that trident. So the repercussion of service was big for me to explore with Ben as well. So there's a lot.
And for you, Chris, it's interesting. We don't often see in television series where you get a show like The Terminal List focused on one character. Now we have a story where it shifts that perspective a little bit. Does that alter at all how you played James?
Well, I mean, yes, it did. It allowed me to not only come in as a supporting role on this to swing it with these guys, but also show a version of the character 7 years before the events of the first movie. Obviously, the events of the first movie, incredibly dark. It's a dark psychological thriller about a man who's, mired in a conspiracy, loses his family, loses his troop, is like suffering from the effects of this tumor in his head. And so the first 7 years before, he didn't have any of that going on. Granted, he's still a Mustang Lieutenant Navy SEAL commander, and he's still living a high stakes life, on the edge of life and death every day when he's downrange. But there's a lightness to him that's by the way, appropriate with how these guys are, with the camaraderie of the brotherhood. They're always fucking with each other and having fun with each other. And you get to see that. You get to see the love they have for each other. You get to see Reese being a leader in a way that's different than how Ben is a leader.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to impart upon him the wisdom of Once an Eagle by Anton Myrer, and trying to make him into a Sam Damon, when he's trying to make him a guy that can thrive within the confines of the military industrial complex as it's presented for the Navy SEAL commanders. And this is a guy who's just not going to go down that road. He's got a moral compass, and he might not have the impulse control to be able to adhere to all of the strict regulations that these guys have to follow. And it's why the ground branch of the CIA is like a much better option for this guy. And so all that to be said, all that to say, yes, it was awesome to play him 7 years before and show a different version of it.
And Taylor, watching the work that goes into a series like this, and it looks intense. Was this a fun series to do?
Man, I love a challenge. I think if you're not challenged, you're scared a little, or you got some fear, I don't know why you're really doing it. So of course you're going to be gassed out and tired, but it's so worth it at the end of the day. Like last night was a premiere, and it really is a family, and we're so proud of it, and it played incredible on the big screen. So all that energy and all the stress that comes in that is worth it, man. And so to celebrate, and I got to reunite, they're shooting True Believer right now all over the world, and I'm not. So it's awesome to reunite in New York and celebrate this moment and get ready to celebrate theirs in another year's time.
Awesome. Well, it's a phenomenal series. Enhances the first season so much. Awesome. You two are fantastic. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you.
Tom, wanted to start with you. Coming into this series, prequel to the main series, Was there anything that you had to kind of cater your character to fit into this world, knowing where he's going to end up? Or did you just come into this like anything else and just play the character as he was on the page?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with Rafe, he's so morally strong, I think, and lives by his morals and ethics, and his loyalty to his brothers is a big thing for him, and especially to James Reese. And I'd read Savage Son before this all came into my life, and so I had an idea of, like, from a fan perspective, what I thought Rafe should be. And all I did in taking that into Dark Wolf then was like, okay, who was this guy when he was in the teams, right? Who was he when he fit within this, and what made him the guy that he is, that we see in Savage Son, and who was he as an operator? And so that's what I sort of took. And for me, the books are such a great inspiration for Rafe. You know, he's so well written and so well described, and he bounces off the page in the book. So yeah, that's all I did really, is like trusted what Jack had created and then tried to create an origin story for him.
And there is a scene in the second episode towards the end. You're in a suit, you got the gun with the silencer. It's a very James Bond looking sequence. Did it feel cool to just be like in that pose? Because I can see people using that on the internet going, maybe this should be our next Bond.
I mean, yeah, I mean, there was a few comments on set, you know, and I was like trying to ignore it, you know, because it's a British actor, you know, that's the pinnacle of any British actor. So, but yeah, I mean, it's always cool to stand in a suit with a gun with a silencer, right? It's kind of like, it's never fun.
And Luke, there was at the beginning in the first episode, seeing your character, I'm like, there's similarities to your character in Westworld. Just kind of he's here, he's abiding by the rules, he's kind of a hard ass. But then the character gets really fun later on in the third episode and further. And the two of you have a great moment in the car where you're talking about accents and things like that. Did you find this character really fun to play?
Oh, it's so fun. It's so fun because
That was one of my favorite moments of the season, by the way. That scene in the truck.
It was so coffee fun. With the cherry on the top.
Incredible.
Yeah, we've injected all this like dark humor into this character, and I've been given this artistic license, and some days they're like, you know, well, just say this, and then we'll go, well, what if we say this? And so I get to come up with the punchlines. Like this is the good stuff. This is the fun stuff.
Yeah. And you came up with some crackers.
Well, I challenged myself one day, we did like, I think it was, I don't know, 17 takes. And I was like, I'm going to come up with a different one-liner every time. And in the end, Shiraz was like, can you just say the first one? Because I can't stop laughing.
Yeah. It was when you started quoting Dodgeball. There was one where you go, it's a bold move, Carton.
Bold move, Carton. Let's see how that plays out.
Yeah, it was so good.
Well, the series is a blast. I had so much fun with it. The two of you are fantastic. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo was created by movie fans for movie fans, and we appreciate your support.